Like many a major studio in the 90s, Paramount Pictures saw the potential in investing in smaller budget films that could yield solid profits, along with prestige and awards. The result was Paramount Vantage, which released a share of highly regarded movies. Originally founded in 1998 as Paramount Classics, heads David Dynasty and Ruf Fatali sought to pick up films that did not cost too much, but nonetheless could result in decent rewards for the studio. Their first release was the documentary Trekkies About the Lives of Various Star Trek Fans. It received positive reviews from critics, but only attracted a small audience during its limited theatrical run. Most of the Paramount Classics releases did not receive much of a theatrical push, which reportedly frustrated Dynasty and Vitali, but some would get more attention than others. Sofia Coppola's feature-directing debut, The Virgin Suicides, curiously opened almost a year following its premiere at the Cannes Film Festival, but it was very well received and quickly attracted a following, particularly on video. Paramount Classics hoped to get Oscar recognition for the 3-hour historical drama Sunshine, and while it did receive 3 Golden Globe nominations, the film was ignored by the Academy. A nice early success for the division was Kenneth Lonergan's You Can Count on Me. Even though it never played on more than 150 screens in North America, strong word of mouth helped it gross over $9 million, and the movie earned 2 Oscar nominations for Laura Linney's performance and Lonergan's screenplay. For the most part, though, if your film is picked up by Paramount Classics, chances are it would not be coming to the local multiplex, and interested viewers would have to seek out the nearest art house instead. Most of their releases grossed less than $1 million during their theatrical run and were largely ignored by awards groups. While not everything they put out was critically acclaimed, some were. The psychological drama Mean Creek got strong reviews from critics, which led to Paramount Classics picking it up after its Sundance Film Festival premiere, but then played on a tiny number of screens. Paul Greengrass's similarly acclaimed historical film Bloody Sunday was not given a big push either, although it had already been shown on the British television channel ITV several months prior. The well-received thriller The Machinist, starring Christian Bale, also only got a limited release, although that one at least managed to squeak past $1 million at the North American box office. But why were the films released by Paramount Classics given such a small footprint during their theatrical runs? Reportedly, Paramount did not give the division a lot of money to promote and release their movies, which was odd. Why would you open a unit to release smaller films and then not give them the ability to make sure they were seen? They basically had to depend on the classic strategy of word of mouth to get people to buy tickets. That can be tricky in the independent and art house film space with so many competitors, especially when other major studios like Fox and Disney were giving their specialty labels more money to spend on prints and advertising. I imagine it must have been a relief when the occasional film did slightly break out, like the documentary Mad Hot Ballroom, although Nickelodeon partnering on that film and promoting it on the network probably helped there. The rare Paramount Classics release to open widely and receive a solid marketing push was the music-themed movie Hustle and Flow. The reason Paramount may have allowed that to get some attention was the potential corporate synergy with MTV, which also worked on the movie, and they felt it would appeal to rap fans. It turned in a nice profit during the summer of 2005, and Terrence Howard would even receive an Oscar nomination for Best Actor. It also pulled off a surprise win in the Best Original Song category for the hip-hop tune It's Hard Out Here for Pimp. Later in 2005, a few months after he became the head of Paramount Pictures, Brad Gray decided to do a complete overhaul of the studio, and one of his decisions was to fire Dynasty and Vitali. In their place, as the new head of Paramount Classics, he installed former talent agent John Lesher. He was primarily known in Hollywood for having several acclaimed directors as clients, and the hope was that he would bring some of them to Paramount. And unlike his predecessors, he was allowed to spend more on the films, as Gray wanted the division to release more commercial fare. The decision was then made to set up a new specialty label named Paramount Vantage, with Paramount Classics primarily being used for documentaries and occasional foreign film pickup. Paramount Classics scored a surprise success with the environmental documentary An Inconvenient Truth. Essentially a filmed version of Al Gore's climate change presentations, it captured audience interest at a time when concerns about the planet were to rise, and even had a positive impact by bringing more awareness to global warming and other issues affecting Earth. It would also win the Oscar for Best Documentary Feature. As for Paramount Vantage, its first release was Alejandro González Iñárritu's hyperlinked globe-spanning drama Babel, which was well received by critics, did well at the box office, and earned 7 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture. Babel immediately established John Lesher's intent for Vantage, which was a place for auteur-driven films with a strong vision. He would also pick up Sean Penn's Into the Wild, which got solid reviews and performed well at the box office. An interesting thing would happen with Paramount Vantage's 2 Best Picture nominees of 2007. Paul Thomas Anderson's There Will Be Blood would end up a co-production with Miramax, who handled international distribution. It would become, and at the moment still is, Anderson's highest-grossing movie, although it's uncertain how much Vantage and Miramax made back from their respective territories after marketing is factored in. As for No Country for Old Men, that was originally going to be released by Vantage worldwide. However, Lesher wanted to release in August, while the Coen brothers and producer Scott Rudin preferred to release date closer to award season. So a deal was made for Miramax to handle the film domestically, while Paramount retained international rights. It worked out for both parties, as No Country performed very well and it would win the Oscar for Best Picture. Vantage did have its struggles around that time, though. Black Snake Moan, Craig Brewer's follow-up to Hustle and Flow, was originally going to be released under the Classics label, but was instead put out by Vantage. However, it flopped, and Christina Ricci even criticized the film's marketing for being exploitative. John Lesher had high hopes for the drama A Mighty Heart starring Angelina Jolie, thinking it would serve as counter-programming during the summer, but not many went to see it. Noah Baumbach's Margot the Wedding also received little attention. Back to Paramount Classics, that label would end up dwindling down, and its last releases were the Afghanistan set drama The Kite Runner, which pulled in solid numbers mostly from international markets, and Martin Scorsese's Rolling Stones concert film Shine a Light. Vantage would also see changes of its own as Lesher was promoted to president of Paramount Pictures, and Vantage's marketing and distribution departments were folded into the bigger studio. Things did not improve, though. Low-budget comedies like Son of Rambo and The Foot Fist Way did not attract much interest during their limited releases. Meanwhile, the films they saw as possible Oscar contenders did not get the attention they hoped. They handled the American distribution for the costume drama The Duchess, which did middling business. They had high hopes for Sam Mendes's Revolutionary Road, which reunited Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio. However, despite okay reviews, it received underwhelming box office numbers, although it did get 3 Oscar nominations, including a surprise one for Michael Shannon's supporting role. With the pedigree involved, Vantage probably expected more. Edward Zwick's World War II film Defiance also did not pull in the grosses Vantage was hoping for. After this, Vantage started to become much less of a focus for Paramount. They would release the occasional film on that label, but they underwhelmed with audiences, like the comedy The Goods, Live Hard, Sell Hard, which was part of a short-lived first-look deal Vantage had with Gary Sanchez Productions, Will Ferrell and Adam McKay's company. There was also the rare movie acquired at film festivals. Waiting for Superman, a documentary about the American educational system, did okay business for a non-fiction film. They bought the distribution rights to the romantic film Like Crazy at the Sundance Film Festival for $4 million, but it failed to reach that total in theaters. The comedy Jeffrey Lives at Home did not make its money back either, and the drama Not Fade Away was a flop. The final hooray for Paramount Vantage was Alexander Payne's acclaimed dramedy Nebraska. It would receive 6 Oscar nominations, including for Best Picture, which helped it do okay business. However, following Nebraska, Paramount decided to quietly retire the label. They were not exactly using it much anyway, and probably felt there was no reason for it when they could just release acclaimed film festival pickups and potential Oscar players under Paramount Pictures. Even with all the difficulties that Paramount Classics and later Paramount Vantage had to deal with, whether it was lack of corporate funds or audience disinterest, you could nonetheless tell there was an effort from the people running those divisions to release what they felt were worthwhile films of various genres in the hope something would catch on. See you next time.